Hello everybody, I'm Warren. I am co-owner of OddsNotifier, and today I would just like to give you an overview of the portal, what everything means, what you can do, the information that you've got, and so on. Just basically a nice tutorial for you to be able to navigate the portal and adjust feeds and whatever else you might want to do, just so that you're able to do that if you desire. So yeah, it can be a bit overwhelming at the start. It will seem pretty alien to most people, just because you've never used it before. But yeah, after this, I'm convinced that you will know everything that you need to know. So let's get cracking. So we've got the dashboard. This is the default landing page in the portal. So here you'll just have an overview of your plan, the leagues that you've got in feed 1, because that's the default. You can make quick changes, but we'll come to that in a second. You've got the Sheets Trackerbot. This is a bot that we made to interact with Google Sheets. So you can forward a bet slip to the bot, and the bot will then parse that information and log it inside your Google Sheet that you use to track bets. We provide a Google Sheet template, which works perfectly with the bot. We provide the actual bot itself, of course, and we have got a really, really useful video just to show you how to get set up, how to screenshot, and yeah, so that's that. We have got our API, which you can use if you want to implement our data into your applications. Pretty self-explanatory. If you are looking for our API, you will already know what this does. For more information, you can contact us and we'll just give you that additional information. We have got your feeds. So you've got feeds 1 to 10, obviously depending on what plan you are on. You can manage these feeds, start any feed you want, stop any feed you want inside here. The services that we offer, so we've got the bookmakers list, we have got the markets and the services we offer for that bookmaker. Just a little brief explanation on these question marks. You've got your profile, so you can set your time zone so that the alerts you receive are in tandem with where you are situated. You can manage your subscription from here, and you can make a one-time payment if needed. The referrals tab. So if you like what we offer and you think people would be interested in that, you can earn yourself a commission by referring other people to the platform, which we'd much appreciate. Then you can follow us on Twitter and you can contact us on Telegram. For the time being, let's just have a look at how to set up a feed. So I've got active feeds 1, 2, and 3. But let's just say that I was to set up a new one on feed 4. So I would click feed 4 and just simply add leagues. So you've got a preset. I won't be using that for this because I want to talk about each individual section. So bookmaker, you've got a full list of bookmakers. This bookmaker, if you are looking at odds movements, this bookmaker will be your benchmark. This will be the bookmaker that you want to use as your point of reference to compare with other books. Obviously, if you are looking for opening odds, this bookmaker will be the actual book where you want to receive alerts that the markets have opened. But let's just say for this example that we are wanting to set odds movements. It would always be Pinnacle for me. Pinnacle is the book that I reference. It's my quote-unquote short bookmaker. So the information that I want will come from Pinnacle. So leagues. Now, there is a quick way of adding all. They didn't used to be, but now you can add all leagues from one particular sport just by clicking all leagues. You can custom it. So if you wanted to do football, England, and you wanted to go through and manually select certain leagues, that's absolutely fine. But that is how you do it. Also, like if you wanted Champions League, you could type football UEFA. If you wanted basketball, you can select basketball and then NBA and so on. You get the picture. But just for efficiency, we will just do all for football, just so that we can go through the other things that we need to. So football, all leagues, thanks. So then we'll get rid of that. And we're away. So the league's determined. We want football and we want every league in the world. Markets. So you have got, obviously, the map handicaps are for esports. The default 3 that most people would generally pick from is totals, money line, and spread. So your totals are self-explanatory, over and under. Your money line is your match odds, teams to win, full-time result, and your spread is Asian handicap. So you can pick more markets. There are plenty to choose from. Corners, you've got half-time betting, all sorts, player props. But for this tutorial, we will just stick with the main 3. So the service. So you can either have opening odds or odds movements. So opening odds are essentially self-explanatory. You will receive an alert when markets open at whatever bookmaker you have chosen. Opening odds. Odds movements are moving odds. So when money is wagered at your benchmark bookmaker, you will receive an alert to let you know what price that is now as a result of the money, what it was. You can see the last 9 movements. You can see the opening odds. You can see the limits. You can set a closing line alert to receive a closing line for that particular bet, and much more. But yep, odds movements is the one that I'm going to use as an example. So we know we were on feed 4. So we can just click feed 4. This is where it gets interesting. This is the bit what most people seem to struggle with. So the show advanced options. So what have we got? Okay, so the limit. So the odds movement trigger. There's an example there, and that's exactly the example that I'd use. So basically, how big of a hit do you want an alert for? If you select 0.1 and there's a movement from 1.90 to 1.80, you will get an alert. Now, if this 1.90 moved to 1.85, you would not get an alert because it's not within the threshold that you've predetermined. So you might want to change it to 0.05. And if that was to move from 1.90 to 1.85, you would get an alert. It's trial and error. You can start higher, and if you feel volume's not up to scratch, you can reduce this number. And if the other way around, if you were to start at 0.05 and you thought that the alerts were overwhelming, you can just bump it up to 0.1. You can set it to anything. So yeah, have a play around. The minimum market limit. So what is the minimum market limit that you want for an alert? If you are somebody who doesn't really like limits at €50, then you can set it at 99, and anything over that, you'll get an alert. Anything under, you will not. Same applies to the max market limit. What is the maximum limit that you want on alert? And if you determine that it's the maximum I want is 5,000, then you will not get an alert for anything exceeding that. Minimum odds. So I know a lot of you love your underdogs. So if you wanted to set a feed up specifically for underdogs, you might not want anything under sort of 5.00, and that would define that. So you wouldn't get an alert for anything under those odds. And same for the maximum. Hours to match start. So if you are betting lower leagues, you might not want early movement. You might want more liquidity within that alert. So you can say, I want alerts that are 6 hours until kickoff. And that will set that, and you'll only receive alerts that are played within 6 hours. Also, if you wanted to look more towards in-play or things like that, you can go less than an hour. So obviously, if 1 was 1 hour, 0.5 would be half an hour, and then 0.25 would be 15 minutes. So if you wanted to do that, just as the games are moving in play, you could set it to that, and you'd get one. You might get one at 2 or 3 minutes before kickoff. Compare with. So this is the quote-unquote soft book that you want to take your bets at. So we've already defined that Pinnacle is the book that we want to reference. Okay, so now we want to know, okay, well, if Pinnacle are this price, I want to know what Bet365 are, just as an example. So if Pinnacle are 2.00, I want to know if Bet365 are 2.20, and there's potential for a bet there. So Bet365 is the book that you will be looking to gain EV at. So then we've got the minimum EV trigger. You can set multiple ones, by the way. You can set multiple ones if there's 2 or 3 books that you're interested in. That's absolutely fine. I'll just set Bet365 for this example. So the minimum EV trigger. So this is what's the minimum amount of EV that you want on an alert. For the big leagues, Premier League, etc., you might want 2% EV. Might be fine for you. 3%. But you can determine this in here. Obviously, the EV trigger would differ between the bigger leagues and the smaller leagues, just because of the size of the limits. So in the Premier League, you might want 103. So you might want 3%. In the lower leagues, you might not want anything under sort of 7%. So you'd set that to 107. But as it's all leagues, we'll set it at 107. So I only want alerts where the EV between my benchmark book, Pinnacle in this case, and my soft book, Bet365 in this case, is 7%. Skip alert if match is not on EV bookmaker. Okay. So this means if an alert or a fixture is not on your EV book, so this one, do you want the alert anyway? I would select no. If it's not a Bet365, I don't want an alert, because if there's 10, I don't want 10 alerts what are essentially useless to me if I'm only using Bet365. So I would check skip alert if match is not on EV bookmaker. Filter out EV alerts. So this, you can determine the line discrepancy. So if you want 7%, you will get an alert for everything at 7% or more. If you wanted only unequal lines, this means where the lines on Pinnacle and Bet365 don't match. So this can be extremely lucrative in the lower leagues and like basketball, things where the line discrepancy is a lot higher than your big league football. So if Pinnacle was being backed at over 3 goals and you wanted to know only if Bet365 had a different line, you would select this, unequal lines. If you want equal lines only, select that. So that means that you will only get an alert if Bet365 and Pinnacle are the same line. And then this one obviously is the opposite. You only get alerts when they aren't the same line. Minimum line difference. This is a new addition. So this could be for basketball, where, like I've just said, the line discrepancy is generally higher on basketball than it would be on football. So in basketball, the spread might be 14. There might be the difference between Pinnacle and Bet365 might be 5 lines, whereas on football it's generally going to be 1 line maximum. So the minimum line difference. So if you had an alert at -10, you would only want an alert if Bet365 were -5. So that's that. You can also type in other requests if you've got any comments or anything else, and then you just send a request and that will be approved. So that is everything for the actual feeds. I don't think you can see your league requests up here and just the details if you need to see the status of one of your requests. You can upgrade your plan at any time. And yeah, I think that is about that. So just an overview of what everything means. Of course, you can go in and have a play and adjust some settings and trial and error. And, you know, if you feel like it's not working, you can adjust slightly. And, you know, so that's an overview of that. Really do hope it helps. There will be more videos like this covering other subjects. So yeah, thank you ever so much, and we'll see you soon.